What's up, everyone, and welcome back to Movie Raised.
As much as we love Tessa and Hardin, we have to admit that the After franchise portrays an unhealthy relationship. From glamorizing the toxic relationship to double standards and emotional abuse, here are 10 reasons the After franchise is toxic. Glamorizes toxic relationships. Before we start with our reasons, let's take a moment and see where it all started. One thing is clear. The first After film somehow managed to go on without being criticized so much, and then After We Collided happened, the second movie of the Harry Styles fan fiction series written by Anna Todd. The film was released in late 2020 and was immediately registered as a controversial film. It's not rare for a film to be placed on the controversial list. Take a look at 365 Days, the Polish drama that took the world by storm in 2020. Then, there's the film that started this trend, 50 Shades of Grey. But After seems to suffer the most because of the critics that claim the franchise encourages young audiences to normalize the sort of behavior that the lead couple in the film shows. The series originated from Wattpad, which is a free website that gives writers the chance to become famous. Wonder why there are so many people hating the franchise? Well, the answer is simple. It is because of its popularity. Ever since Todd wrote the story on Wattpad, her story moved into novels. Then the novels got their film adaptation, and because of the massive audience, a lot of people believe the franchise has a bad influence on a lot of teens all over the world. For those of you not familiar, After follows the story of Tessa Young and Hardin Scott, a couple that goes through plenty of struggles in order to be together. From family issues to career life and, of course, their relationship problems, for which the list seems endless. The first film makes you feel like you're seeing a darker version of 10 Things I Hate About You. You know, the film that made the world fall in love with the incredibly talented Heath Ledger back in the 90s. But once you go deeper into After, you'll notice a lot of toxicity throughout the relationship. The bad boy image is unhealthy. As previously said, After follows the story of Tessa and Hardin, and we'll start with a description of Hardin first. Ever since the first film, viewers were aware that Hardin is a terrible, mentally abusive person, and this clearly makes him toxic, not just for Tessa, but for everyone around him. Oh, before we continue, we just wanted to say that we have no negative comments regarding Josephine Langford and hero fiennes-tiffin. Both actors are incredibly talented, and they are doing just their job. The main problem with After is, however, the arrogance Hardin shows. Hero did a great job in his portrayal of Hardin because despite how toxic his character is, he again made fans fawn over him. Let's go back to the time when Tessa and Hardin met for the first time. So, Tessa is in her dorm room, which she shares with Hardin's friend Steph. She was showering and she just got into the dorm to change. Hardin is lying on Steph's bed while waiting for Tessa to notice him. Imagine you're the girl in this case and some random dude lays on the bed not saying a word while you dress. Then he says something like, "Don't flatter yourself." And you completely get the idea of how terrible this person must be. The good girl image. Here's the thing. Tessa believes Hardin is a good guy. She actually believes he has a good heart under all those layers of arrogance. And while everyone around her tells her, most times indirectly, how awful Hardin is, she doesn't really care. For instance, here's Landon. He tried and tried and tried to warn Tessa, but there was no success. The good girl image presented here is also toxic. By the good girl image, we're referring to the girl that sees through all those red flags. Emotional abuse. After We Collided is the film that encourages emotional abuse the most out of the 3 After films. Hardin struggles with alcohol addiction, and instead of seeking professional help and learning the audience that that's the right solution, he takes off his anger on Tessa and everyone around him. Also, there are many occasions when Tessa and Hardin throw horrible words at one another every other sentence. Another big issue is the fact that Tessa does not speak to anyone about Hardin's behavior. Instead, she keeps it to herself, which only worsens her mental health. Double standard. It seems as Hardin has everything a toxic person needs, including his double standards. For instance, Hardin expected Tessa to be there for him all the time, even though he rarely sees her as a priority. Anger issues. Hardin is, according to some critics, a person people should stay away from in real life. He's selfish, he has problems for which he needs to seek professional help, and he's controlling. Just like Tessa, there are a lot of girls who end up with this kind of person without seeing the red flags, as previously mentioned. Critics claim After is a glamorization of an emotionally abusive relationship. The thing is, Anna Todd, the author of the book, claims this is solely entertainment. In a now-deleted tweet from 2013, she said, "I never said it was healthy. I've never read a story where the relationship is healthy. That's the point of entertainment."
You're just a liar.
That was all before.
Before what?
Hardin's controlling behavior. As previously mentioned, another thing that makes After toxic is Hardin's controlling behavior. Remember when Tessa was drunk and called him? He quickly demands to know her location. When she ignores his demand, he says he'll find the location, and there he is, in her hotel room. Well, this is a problem. First of all, they were not together. She didn't invite him, and he had no permission to come into her hotel. Things quickly escalate when he finds out there's a guy in Tessa's room. He becomes so angry that all the red flags appear in his face.
You're just boorishly droning on with no regard for the lives you destroyed.
Is toxicity normalized? Because of the fact that there are a lot of movies that promote the same unhealthy relationship, we need to see this as a bigger problem. As we said, there's Twilight and 50 Shades of Grey. Then there's 365 Days and so many other films that are famous for displaying something abusive as desirable. Do you guys remember when Tessa's boyfriend came into town? When Hardin found out and made a scene out of it? He got drunk, left the party, and went to mess up his father's house. Then Landon was the one to clean up. This is when we're starting to wonder why Tessa is with Hardin. But it is even worse when Tessa goes to help Landon when Hardin decides the best thing to do is break a bottle of whiskey. She then feels the need to comfort him as she's done something to upset him, and the two end up in bed together as if his behavior is perfectly normal. Tessa can save Hardin. Back when Hardin made a bet with his friends betting that he could sleep with Tessa, he started falling for her. In fact, he only had Tessa to talk to about his feelings towards his father getting married, and he actually confessed his feelings towards her. This was one of the rarest occasions where we saw Hardin being stable. Then again, some fans believe Tessa is the one who could save him, which is also a toxic aspect. Tessa can't save him. No one can save anyone if the person that needs to be saved doesn't want to. Not realistic. After these many toxic elements in the story, the end of the first film shows Hardin turning in his English term paper and making it all about how much he loves and values Tessa. The drawing of her is the cherry on top. The English professor then gives the paper to Tessa, and we can just not ignore the fact that the ending is unrealistic. Hero Fiennes-Tiffin had an interview with Entertainment Weekly where he said people criticize After for advocating like a toxic relationship, and we need to stress that this is entertainment. It's not a rule book for people to follow and take into their lives. But I think it is super entertaining to watch people try and get through that because Hardin and Tessa don't want it to be toxic. They're trying to fight through it, and it is for whatever reason. Do you guys think After is toxic? Let us know. Make sure you subscribe to our channel so you'll never miss any of our videos in the future. As always, thanks for watching.